Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the world. This week's article is The Autograph Book and a Witness to the Drama of History by Brother M. Christopher Lee, 32nd degree, and comes from the January-February 2025 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. On a cool spring evening in 1865, 23-year-old Treasury Department clerk and Freemason Omar Dexter Austin was enjoying a night at the theater. Brother Austin had received his clerkship in 1861 through the influence of Ohio Senator and future Secretary of State John Sherman. For 3 years, he had worked under the persistent threat of invasion from the South, but last week, Lee had surrendered at Appomattox. The war was over, and there was much to do. Tonight, however, was for the theater. Earlier, the play was halted, and the orchestra began playing Hail to the Chief. President Lincoln, accompanied by his wife Mary and their guests, Major Henry Rathbone and his fiancée, Clara Harris, entered late and took their seats in the President's box. The play, Our American Cousin by English playwright Tom Taylor, resumed. This must have been exciting for young Omar. Autograph collecting had seen a recent resurgence in popularity. He purchased an autograph book in January and began quickly collecting the signatures of some of the most prominent men of the day. He was in the right city to do it. The prior week, he had called the White House seeking the most coveted autograph of all, that of President Abraham Lincoln. The president, however, having just returned from his tour of Richmond, was unavailable. His secretary, John Nicolay, told Omar that he could leave the book and call again in a few days, leaving a nearly two-thirds filled autograph book. Among the signatures already gathered were those of General Ulysses S. Grant, Secretary of State William Seward, and fellow newspaperman Horace Greeley. Must have been unnerving for the young Ohioan, but he acquiesced. 3 days later, he called again and reclaimed the book, now inscribed with the 16th President's short signature, A. Lincoln. Secretary Nicolay signed the book for good measure. On stage, actress Helen Muzzy, portraying Mary Meredith, was explaining to actor Harry Hawk how he was not used to the manners of good society. Hawk, portraying Asa Trenchard, the American cousin of the play's title, called after her. "Don't know the manners of good society, eh? Well, I guess I know enough to turn you inside out, old gal, you sock-dologizing old man-trap." The audience of nearly 1,700 roared with laughter. At that moment, there was a shot. A year after President Lincoln's assassination, Austin, who had worked in the offices of the Herald newspaper of Marshfield, Ohio, before the war, accepted the position of foreman in the office of the Kansas City Advertiser, the first daily newspaper in the city. In November, he moved to Butler, Missouri, to be general manager of the Bates County Record. 11 months later, he purchased the Record, which he owned and operated the remainder of his life. Butler, Missouri, was a city still recovering from the ravages of the infamous General Order No. 11, issued in 1863 by Union General Thomas Ewing, Jr., which resulted in the burning of the city and much of the surrounding countryside. Brother Austin transferred his Masonic membership to Venus Lodge No. 152 in Ohio to the newly formed Butler Lodge UD, later Butler No. 254, the successor of Bates Lodge No. 88, which was burnt with the rest of the town in 1863. He faithfully served the lodge for the next 47 years. He was elected Worshipful Master 4 times, 1882, 1886, 1891, and 1893, and served 6 years as secretary, 12 years as marshal, and 4 years, 1896 to 1900, as district deputy grand master. In 1876, Missouri Governor Charles Henry Hardin appointed him as a representative to the country's centennial celebrations in Philadelphia. He was appointed postmaster in 1881 and 1889 by Presidents Chester A. Arthur and Benjamin Harrison. Austin was the first cousin of Lieutenant Colonel Everton Conger, an intelligence officer in the Union Army. Conger was instrumental in the capture of Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth, tracking him 12 days after Lincoln's assassination to the Garrett farm, where Booth was shot and later died. The cousins shared a close relationship, with Conger often visiting Austin in Butler. Their grandfather was Michigan Senator Omar Dwight Conger. The first page of Austin's autograph book is inscribed February 14, 1865, Washington, D.C. It was two-thirds filled when President Abraham Lincoln signed the 66th page in April 1865. Other notable signatures that followed included Eli Perkins, Lew Wallace, author of the oft-filmed novel Ben-Hur and former New Mexico Territorial Governor, former Vice President Schuyler Colfax, Senator John B. Henderson, Supreme Court Justice J.Q.C. Lamar, and publisher John Temple Graves. The third-to-last autograph in the book is that of R.C. Henderson and is dated October 20, 1865 in Washington, D.C., 8 months before he began collecting. There is a 17-and-a-half-year gap between the next and final autographs in the book. Moore's Tamley, just above William E. Walton. It is dated April 4, 1883 in Butler, Missouri. The last 9 pages are blank. After he died in 1915, the autograph book passed to Austin's widow, Florence M. Austin. It remained in the Austin family, eventually passing to O.D.'s great-grandson, Jack Austin, in Mount Airy, North Carolina. When Jack passed away unexpectedly in 2021, he left instructions for the autograph book to be donated, along with a few other Austin family artifacts, to the Bates County Museum in Butler, where Jack was a lifetime member of the Bates County Historical Society. I am indebted to Peggy Burr, then director of the Bates County Museum, for bringing this wonderful story to my attention, to Bates County Museum Director Tiffany Blazer for trusting me to handle and photograph the autograph book, and to Chris Schick, past master, secretary of Venus Lodge No. 152, Mansfield, Ohio, for researching Brother Omar Austin's early Masonic career through the minute books of the Lodge. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 33rd degree, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.